Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about XRP because we've seen a breakout and it's looking like it could potentially be the start of the mythical run to $3, which would be really cool to see. Obviously, XRP has kind of blown everybody's minds and expectations and everything over this past probably 2 or 3 months or so. And so, we'll see kind of how it starts off 2025. It is looking pretty good. We've seen a ton of momentum today. So I want to go talk about that a little bit. Look at some of the TA or like technical analysis and stuff like that that we are seeing within XRP. And then we'll go on and kind of take a bigger look at some of the other things within the XRP ecosystem that we do just need to be a little bit careful of. So anyway, let's go on ahead, dive right in. And starting out, let's take a look at crypto bubbles. Because what we can see overall on the day, things looking pretty decent. I mean, pretty green bubbles here and there, right? I mean, we've got Tau up 15%, XRP 14%, Pengu 16, Phantom 18, Cardano over 11% at this point, XLM almost 30% on the day, which is kind of crazy. XDC, IOTA, Virtuals, AI16Z, Algo, I mean, bunch of stuff moving. Things looking really, really good overall. We are actually back to a green week because of this, but we can see like there is definitely more red than green. It just so happens that the green ones are a lot bigger than the red ones, and so that kind of offsets that overall. We are still seeing a lot of kind of pullback in the market, but at least so far for the year, we have seen a pretty nice move to the upside, and so we'll kind of see how that looks. If we look at the XRP chart specifically, things looking pretty good, right? So there's a couple of different things we can see here. Obviously, we can see, a bunch of different levels of support and resistance. Let's actually just blow this up and make it full screen. Also pull this down as well. So we can see RSI, definitely still looking decent. It's obviously moved a fair bit up, but not in the overbought territory at all yet. We have seen a really, really nice bounce off of, we could see that there was kind of like a wedge line forming here. We can see a wedge line forming here as well. There's a couple of different ways we could look at it. This kind of being a rough way to look at it, and maybe even something like this potentially. But there also is the other way we could look at it, is if we were to essentially like exclude this wick where we're trying to draw like a closer line to what we saw here. We can see that if we were to draw it similar to this, we would have actually already broken out of this wedge and are actually holding above it relatively well. I'm going to go back and kind of redraw it kind of how I think makes the most sense. Probably something like this, I would say. And then same type of thing, obviously the bottom looking pretty good here. We have broken above this level of resistance that we have seen, XRP getting rejected by several different times. This is the daily candle though, so there is the possibility that maybe we see a wick similar to this. We have already kind of wicked up a little bit and kind of pulled back. How far we pull back, and if we see another wick, obviously that remains to be seen. If we do see another wick and kind of pulling back below this level of resistance, I think we are going to see that this level of resistance will continue to turn out to be kind of a more and more difficult task to get through. But as of now, we're at least seeing, we've broken above this. If we look at the Bollinger Bands, we still have plenty of room to run. At least so far right now, the top of the Bollinger Band is actually just on the other side of this wedge if we were to break out. But as we start to see some of this price run, we might start to see these Bollinger Bands kind of start to move to the upside and give us some more space to run there. Overall though, if we do break out of this wedge, we're probably not going to break too far out, just because as we've talked about in the past with the Bollinger Bands, whenever we see candles move outside of the Bollinger Bands, they very, very quickly move back in. And so this is something that, if we were to break out of this wedge, I wouldn't expect us to see too much movement to the upside, just because we do have that Bollinger Band kind of sitting right past it. So however though, keep in mind, if we stay above this level of support, kind of bounce around a little bit and kind of get a little bit closer to the edge of this wedge, it is possible that at that point in time, we might see the Bollinger Band start to move a little bit further to the upside as well, give us some more room to run. So we could see a relatively strong break out of this wedge and then a continuation onto the upside up to this kind of mythical $3 amount that we could be seeing potentially soonish. Hard to say for sure, but this is a very, very strong bounce that we've obviously seen going right on into the new year. So things looking really good so far. What we can see is we've held kind of the bottom of this wedge very well. Even this like bottom piece, we've really only seen some momentary wicks down. Overall, we've held basically at this $2 level, even above the $2 level. I'd say pretty impressively. It looks, at least as of right now, that we're essentially at pretty low risk of dropping below this $2. At least in the near future, we have seen a pretty strong bounce. We've seen a pretty strong bounce in the overall crypto market as well. The next thing I think we are looking to see though is kind of a break out of this like descending channel or this like descending trend line that we have seen as we are kind of consolidating towards the end of this wedge. If we do see a consolidation, get towards the end of this piece, I think this is probably where we would see the best chance of a breakout and a breakout to the upside. Of course, as I mentioned, it would make sense to turn this into a level of support just because we have seen price struggle around this a lot in the past. So turning this into a support and kind of putting in some volume up here before we continue a move to the upside, I think would be really, really good to see kind of from like a more technical perspective. We also can see as well RSI, not really much of a concern. I think the best and the simplest way to kind of describe both the RSI and the Bollinger Band is if we take this middle line and we also take this orange line here, it's almost like an extension or like a elastic band, right? So the further away you get from this line, the harder the elastic band is going to be pulling you back to the middle. Same type of thing with RSI as well. Now, obviously, with elastic bands, they can stay stretched for a period of time, for a while, as we can see if we go back and take a little bit closer look at XRP. I mean, you could see, the elastic band, so to speak, if we're to continue with this analogy, continue to get stretched further and further and further until eventually it got like way outside of the band or the range. But then we saw it come back, right? I mean, it always does. When it's hard to say for sure, but we do always know that it is going to come back, particularly when we see things pop outside the outside band here. It's almost a certainty that we are going to see price fall back in. You can see here, we pop outside of the band, we got one candle, and then again, on the second, we're back in. So even if we look here, one candle, not even in the, doesn't even take another full candle, and then we're back in. Now, this one we can see is a little bit of an aberration because we see here, we actually first pop out of the Bollinger Band and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then by the 9th candle we are back in. So this is probably like the most extreme example that we have seen in recent times of essentially like staying outside of the Bollinger Band on like a consistent basis. Every other time it's usually only just a handful of candles and then we are back in. And so that's also something just to keep an eye on is when we start to see we had candles outside of the bands as well as RSI basically being overextended this entire time. So a little bit of some crazy action here on the XRP chart. Obviously, if you guys held XRP, you were experiencing that crazy action kind of firsthand and in full time. So obviously pretty cool there. We can see again, focusing back on what we're looking at today, this is a really, really nice move that could potentially get us that momentum, like I said, to get up to that $3 amount. Again, I don't think we can take a straight run to $3. I would think that would be somewhat unlikely, but if we do put in a little bit of volume here on the support, I do think we could see kind of a secondary leg up, kind of do something like this, right? Move, consolidate a little bit, move, consolidate a little bit, move, and then, longer consolidation, something like that. So I think that's kind of what makes the most sense so far. If you are interested in trading XRP, Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything like that, just feel free to use my link in the description below. I am still working with BTCC. They are also still doing that 10% bonus on first time deposits, which is a really, really good deal. This is in addition to the extra bonuses of up to $10,055 per user. So there's essentially a ton of really, really great options here and really, really strong bonuses if you are looking for a new place to trade or maybe even diversify into a secondary or tertiary exchange. They've been around for 13 years, so definitely like pretty low risk of being like a here today, gone tomorrow type of exchange. Also 300 plus crypto futures, so if there's anything you're looking to trade, they probably have it. Also 500x leverage, but again, I'd strongly discourage you using leverage that high at that point. In my opinion, it's basically tantamount to gambling. But again, if you have some strategy that maybe I'm not aware of, good for you. But in my opinion, you just have to be very, very careful with using high leverage. Also, no VPN or KYC necessary if that's something that you are interested in. So like I said, if you're looking for a new place to trade or maybe even like a secondary exchange, anything like that, just feel free to use my link in the description below. Get signed up and you can go on ahead and get started trading with all this different type of stuff. Now, one thing I did want to take a quick look at here is on Twitter, just to give you guys a little bit of maybe a little word of caution here, because we can see, obviously we saw a post. This has gotten 275,000 views, by the way. What we can see here, though, is this is essentially just somebody bull posting XRP, which is totally fine. I mean, people bull post everything constantly all the time. But what we need to see here is like essentially the reasoning, right? So XRP's price will suddenly be around $317 sometimes in January. This will be caused by over $20 trillion entering the XRP ledger from Japan economy, big money like BlackRock, JP Morgan, and let's not talk about Swift, which is set to begin using XRP in 2025. ISO 20022 messaging system backed by central banks globally will also have their systems go live. So I don't know much about where any of this is coming from. And let's I don't even know where to start with all of the fallacious arguments that are happening here. $20 trillion entering XRP ledger from the Japan economy, and also big money like BlackRock and JP Morgan. Yeah, that might be the market cap of all of these things combined, but that doesn't mean they're going to move 100% of their assets into XRP tomorrow. But again, I'm assuming to hit a price of $317, XRP would need a market cap of $20 trillion. And again, this is all supposed to happen in a month. I don't even really know where to start. Now, if you guys have been watching my channel, I'm really, really hoping that you guys have really been taking the opportunity to kind of learn and understand more about the crypto ecosystem, and market caps being one as a place to start. How to determine price from a market cap. If XRP does hit $317, what would that market cap look like? A lot of this different type of stuff. I just want you to be very, very careful. I'm sure there are people out there somewhere that actually maybe believe that XRP could hit $317 in January. I mean, again, it's crypto, anything could happen, but come on, 100x on a $100 billion asset in 1 month. Nothing has ever done that before, ever in the past. I don't understand why this would just be the one to do it. And if it was, why would BlackRock and JP Morgan and all these other companies that allegedly are going to be throwing their trillions of dollars of assets onto XRP, why would they not be buying it like crazy? None of this makes any sense. And so again, this is not to throw FUD on XRP or anything. I do think we have a very, very reasonable shot at making that run to $3 within the next month, probably. Maybe market highs. I don't really see XRP going too far past $5 realistically, but again, it's the bull market, right? I mean, wild stuff can happen. There's people calling for $10. Again, I think that's a little bit nuts, but it's possible, right? I mean, $10 would be somewhere around a $500 billion valuation. Not not super ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, but it's not super ridiculous. So overall, hopefully you don't take this as me throwing FUD on XRP. I think, again, I've talked about my feelings about XRP before, but ultimately a lot of the price action and things that we're seeing from XRP right now make a degree of sense, right? I'm not going to say they make total sense, but they do make a degree of sense. When you start to talk about XRP hitting $317 within the next month, come on. So hopefully, I just want to share that with you guys. It is a little bit of helping us think through some of this stuff and how we can determine bull posting, things within reason, and just trash basically that is not at all anywhere based in reality. And so anyway, hopefully you did find that information in this video helpful and useful. If you did, please do give me a like and subscribe, because it really, really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of my comments, so if you have anything that you want me to see, that would be a great way to do it. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.